Hey, what's up, lightboltjoe here. Today we are going to discuss Season 6 of CW's original show, Riverdale. This is based off the Archie comics from back in the day. Riverdale has been going on for quite some time, right? So Season 6 premiered November 21, just ended July 22. Here we are, September 22. I just finished binging it on Netflix. This is a show that I personally have to binge. I can't watch it week to week. There's too much detail that goes from scene to scene, episode to episode, that overlaps, that you'll miss. From my experience, I would miss if I watched it week to week versus binging it episode after episode. So this is 22 episodes, season 6. We start out with the bomb under Archie and Betty's bed, and that's how season 5 ends, and the season 6 starts at that exact moment. So the bomb goes off, but they survive. So how do they survive? What's happening? Why do they have powers all of a sudden? Why is Archie indestructible? Why is Betty starting to see auras and things in regards to threats, right? She's on the hunt still for the TBK killer, the trash bag killer. She's still an FBI agent at the beginning of the show. What are these things? Why is Jughead starting to hear people's thoughts even though he can't hear, like, physically in his ears? Why is Tabitha capable of time traveling? Why is Veronica venomous? Why is Cheryl getting these pyrokinetic abilities, creating this phoenix power that she has? Things are happening, right? So why are things happening? It's so interesting because the beginning of the show technically is the first 4 episodes of Riverdale. And then we get an explanation as to why Riverdale is Riverdale, and we have why Riverdale is Riverdale. And the multiverse is thrown into effect. I've never read the Archie comics. I cannot compare Archie comics to Sabrina comics. Sabrina Spellman, Kiernan Shipka is back as Sabrina Spellman in 2 episodes. One in a Riverdale episode, and then one in a Riverdale episode where she teaches witchcraft and stuff. Because Cheryl's family history is being brought about within witchcraft and the supernatural stuff. The supernatural aspect of Riverdale seeped into Riverdale, so now we have a hybrid, kind of, in a sense, of stuff that's going on, and it's very interesting how it's all explained because it all overlaps. So that's the thing. The multiverse is into effect. I don't know if that was actually a part of the comics or not, but it's beautifully explained how all of these things wind up together and why this Percival Pivens is another antagonist trying to destroy the town, as Hiram Lodge was the last antagonist trying to destroy the town, but he was run out, and Camila Mendez's character, Veronica Lodge, just puts a hit on him and he's dead. And it's just so entertaining watching these things happen so quickly. And what I love about this show is that it's not even a guilty pleasure. It's so well done. Greg Berlanti is an executive producer on the show, and we know and love Greg for he just runs the CW basically at this point. We know and love him from Love, Simon, but he's done a bunch of different DC shows. He's an amazing producer. So I just find it weird when people complain about Riverdale. Why is the show still on? It should have ended after the first season. The point of the show is that there's always another story. There's always something else happening in Riverdale. It's not just... The first season was great. It was the matter of who's the Black Hood, why was Fred Andrews shot, who shot Fred Andrews, all those things, right? Being Hal Cooper, Betty's father, being the Black Hood, all along. Very cool twist at the end, very cool reveal. But, like, that was the thing. It was a sexy drama, serial killer kind of show, and you're like, all right, cool. And then, like, other things start to happen, and you're like, but what does this have to do with everything else? But that's the point. There's always a different story. The Archie comics are just constant. There's so many different Archie comics, and to have the overlay with the Sabrina Spellman comics, the Sabrina the Teenage Witch comics, Greendale versus Riverdale versus Riverdale in a different dimension, in a multiverse aspect, having a Greendale in another aspect, because we saw 2 different Sabrinas in this particular show, in this particular season. It's very neat, and I understand why people complain in regards to it's not like the first couple seasons, because it's not supposed to be. You can't keep redoing the same things. There's always got to be something different. So now that the multiverse is into effect, now that we have Rivervale and Riverdale, and the fact that we just ended back in 1955 after a giant comet just tried to destroy Riverdale because of Percival being, smutty, and smutty is not the word. I don't know what the word is, but I like smutty. It's not a word, but it is now. I like it, smutty. He put another curse on this comet, this Bailey's comet that is now going to hurtle. And since Cheryl is now empowered with the Phoenix power of fire, she's going to melt the ice comet. And it's just so beautiful, because what happens when Veronica fuses all of their powers together because she's a human dialysis machine, and then kisses Cheryl to transfer all the powers, to elevate her Phoenix power, to then put all this stuff together. But then how did they wind up back in 1955 Riverdale? But they're still themselves, but Jughead only knows that. So cool. I can't wait for season 7. The point being, though, is that Riverdale is filled with stories. There's always another story to tell. And I only knew of season 6 through different memes that were being posted via Instagram, Facebook, whatever. Because of, like, if you told me 6 years ago that the finale of Riverdale would be Cheryl with her lesbian powers saving Riverdale from a comet, I would have laughed in your face. But out of context, it's hysterical. In context, it makes perfect sense how all of it just overlapped and came together. What's beautiful about the show also is the way that the stories are told. It's overlapped. So one thing happens while something else is happening, and then that thing fizzles, and then the other thing continues. There's no actual ending of something. Like, for instance, when Betty finally kills TBK in the garage, where her father started to groom her. That was another beautiful conversation that Betty and Archie had, but they didn't use the term grooming back then when they first started to, talk about things in high school. And they use that term now, like Hal started to groom Betty to be a serial killer. Miss Grundy was grooming Archie, within a relationship. To be completely honest, Miss Grundy was a pedophile, and she was having a sexual relationship with a student. That's not grooming. That's taking full advantage. That's statutory rape. Full on penetration. That happened. We had that moment. So that's not grooming. But how grooming Betty to become a serial killer and Betty not becoming a serial killer, very interesting. But it was another beautiful conversation showing how much time has passed within the actual show itself, 6 seasons in, and the time jump that we have. The characters are now in their early 20s. So it's very cool. Mid-20s, excuse me. I think they're all 25 in the show. It's just very interesting watching that. Anyway, going back to the TBK killing. The season 5 was all about TBK, and then TBK, Trash Bag Killer, was such a beautiful, well-rounded character who we actually see, and then he disappears, and he comes back again in full costume with a mask. Love it. I love that costume. It's beautiful. But Betty just shoots him in the garage. She makes her peace with it. They talk about it briefly, and then that's it. On to the next thing. It's not a big finale kind of a thing. It's just an overlap of story. That's what's so interesting about this show. That's why I love this show 6 seasons later. It all overlaps. And now that we have a multiverse thrown into effect, who knows? Maybe we'll get some more Rivervale stories. Maybe we'll get some more Greendale thrown in the mix. Having Sabrina Carpenter, having Sabrina Spellman and Nick Scratch come together. Granted, Nick was in the body of Jughead, and having it explained, because the end of Sabrina is Nick and Sabrina are sitting in the suite hereafter. So it's a matter of, why did he kill himself? So it turns out he killed himself to make a deal. So it was a soul swap. So she was allowed to come back to the mortal realm, and he stayed in the suite hereafter. Very interesting. Very interesting. And then to have Jughead be Nick, or Nick being Jughead for the time being, in Sabrina and Nick going on a date. Very interesting. It was a nice closure aspect. Of course we want more Sabrina. Sabrina had 4 beautiful seasons on Netflix. So it was neat having Heather, too, another witch from Greendale, coming into effect, being a past friend of Cheryl's. More of Cheryl's background with her relative Abigail. Getting a lot of 1500s early Riverdale, which was originally called Sweetwater River or something. The settlers and all their ancestors and stuff, and Percival Pivens being from Greenvale, but him being from 1540, making a deal with the devil, all these different things. It's an overlap of story, and it's so cool watching it. You have to binge it to pay attention to the overlap. I can't stress that enough within Riverdale. It's such a great show that gets ripped to shreds constantly. It's niche-y. It's kitschy. That's the word. It's kitschy, but it makes sense when things are overlapped. It's wonderful. I love it. There was something else I wanted to point out. What the hell was it? Overlap of stories, multiverse, kitschy. Greendale, Riverdale, Rivervale. It's nice seeing Ethel back again. That was neat. Something. It's gone. I was going to say something else. I praised it enough. It's pretty awesome. I will never call it a guilty pleasure because it's a great show. It's a great show when you watch it in full effect. That's why I can't watch it episode to episode, as in week to week. Can't do it. I got to watch it when it comes out on Netflix. You just binge it, and then we can talk about it, and I can praise it. And there we go. On to season 7. I think that's the final season. I believe that's the final season. I know KJ Apa already shaved his head off, so I think they're done filming. It's just a matter of what happens next. Or maybe he just shaved it and then they'll just give him a wig. I don't know. I'm very excited to see how the actual series finales... Oh, I remember. Okay. In seasons past, we've had a specific musical episode. And this season didn't have a specific musical episode, but it had... So there's 22 episodes in this season. I want to say 15 of the 22, roughly, had at least 1 or 2 musical numbers in it. For no apparent reason, aside from the fact that it was available and it was there. And one particular scene, Tony and Fang's wedding, Kevin gets up on stage and he starts singing It's Your Wedding Day from The Wedding Singer, the Broadway musical Wedding Singer, and I was freaking the freak out. Bro, not many people know of The Wedding Singer. Do I have my stage book? I have it somewhere. Oh, bro, where is it? Is it down here? No, I don't know where I put it. It's a show book from the actual 2005 Broadway musical. That is my favorite musical. I did a production of it. I did a few productions of it. It's just so incredible. And I did not expect that to be a musical number. And it was so cool seeing it. I was freaking the freak out. Another reason why I love Riverdale. It surprises me. It definitely surprises me. And I love that 50s, 60s aesthetic that they have throughout within the props and stuff, TVs and things. It's just, you only know it's modern, quote unquote, by the cell phones and the internet via laptop. That's it. Everything else is very period piece-ish. The aesthetic of Pop's Diner, it's just so beautiful. We've talked enough. We've talked a while. Riverdale season 6, awesome season, awesome series. I love that the multiverse is thrown into effect now. On to the next review. Mucho mahalo.